Your number one hype gal here, and welcome to the weekly warm-up, your weekly dose to feel a little more confident and a lot more human. I'm Jess McDowell, and each week I'll share life updates, mindset shifts, product faves, the little things that help me stay grounded, energized, and moving and grooving. Whether you're heading out for a jog, sipping your morning coffee, or just need a midweek pick-me-up, this is your warm-up for living a real balanced life. So take a breath, shake it out, and let's dive in. Welcome back to the weekly warm-up. I'm in a post-runner's high mood. Typically, that's what I'm in every time I film and every time y'all hear from me. But did win first female overall in the Be There 5K race the other day in honor of scholarships for Miami-Dade County, which is really amazing and a great cause. I got to run and move and groove with some running pals. It was a really cool event. It was at the youth fairgrounds. And we got to run through the carnival or the fair. And when it's dead empty in the morning, it brings out this childhood, I don't know, like magic where you're at a fair all by yourself and all the potential, you know what I mean, that you could do. I was constantly staring at the hot dog stand, or not the hot dog stand, excuse me, the corn dog stand, wishing that that thing would open or I might break into it. I didn't, but it was super fun. I podiumed, got first female overall, which was really exciting and fun to do. And 6:40 pace. I just want to announce that. Thank you. But yeah, no, it was fun. So I am kind of starting off the week with a high, and we've got so much going on. I'm so excited. This Saturday, March 21st, is Stay Fit 305 Spring Sweat that I'm going to be in. I'm hosting the run in the morning, and then there's about 7 to 8 other fitness activities afterwards that are going to be hosted by some amazing girls that are in the fitness and wellness industry or space here in Miami. And then there's going to be activations, and I'm super pumped to be a part of it and very thankful to be a part of it. Literally in the next month, there's so many things that I'm very, very excited about that, I don't know, it's just really cool to see how things are starting to kind of fall into place as I've, taken this leap of faith in myself and this new journey that I've been going on, and really deciding and putting faith into what I've always wanted to do and what I love most. And it's what I'm doing now. And I'm starting to see the progress happening, and it's only been a couple months. So I just can't wait to see where I'm at 6 months from now. And then the overwhelming love and support from people is truly astonishing. I've never experienced anything like it in my entire life. And that's what keeps me just motivated and disciplined and being consistent. So we have a lot of stuff talking about that today. You know me, I'm always going to give you some endurance and running tips and tricks. So let's dive in. Before we get into today's running topic, I want to talk about something I came across recently that stuck with me, a 90-day discipline plan. I believe at the beginning of the year when I got back and started the podcast back up, I mentioned something around a 90-day plan. But this isn't a 90-day plan. Don't think of it like 75 hard. Small baby habits that turn into habits that then become a lifestyle. Let's just call it as it is. The concept is pretty simple. For 90 days, you commit to a set of habits that improve your life and that you will stick with, and consistently every day. What I kind of put together included moving your body daily. Obviously, you know me, we got to move and groove. We got to prioritize our sleep and drinking enough water. Hydrate. I'm always on my Instagram stories doing that 10-second chug, to make sure y'all are getting in your liquids. Journaling or some sort of form of journaling, meditation, whatever it is that you're able to kind of release, do so. Keeping promises to yourself. That is such a big one, is keeping promises to yourself and showing up for yourself. And then consuming content that actually adds value to your life. I cannot say that louder for the people in the back, but you have the choice to consume your content. And I've talked about that multiple episodes. And what I love about this idea is that it really comes down to discipline and consistency. And as an endurance athlete, as an endurance and running educator, and I know y'all are some sort of runners of some form or endurance training because you're listening to me and I am a running junkie, you know that discipline and consistency is everything. Because the truth is, most transformation in life doesn't come from some massive overnight change, some massive revolution. They come from the small habits done over and over again, which is why I love saying, and I will repeat this again, small habits, small baby habits turn into habits. that then turn into a lifestyle. And it's the same concept with endurance training. If you're a runner or if you are in any type of endurance sport, or just in general, if you are into your fitness and your health, you know that there is a level that you have to show up. And it's the same concept. You know what I mean? You show up for the miles, you build the habits, you stay consistent, and over time, those habits compound into true progress. I'm going to break them down and then I'll go back to the rest of my notes for the segment. I would suggest getting a pen or paper, or if you want to pause this and do that, or if you want to, I don't know, however else you like to do it. I can also, what I'll do probably is use the note and I'll share it, my note in the story when the episode comes out, because then it always makes sense. Typically, I always do that. So you'll be able to get it there too. The 90-day plan, get ready every day, not full glam, but try to look your best, AKA what I am doing right now. I just got a nice little slick back pony, light, makeup on that just makes me feel good that I'm able to get some content done that I need to get done. I can film my podcast. I'm feeling like, okay, I'm a high functioning woman, like we always talk about. And it really does make a difference. Now, I understand that there's days where you don't want to wear makeup, you're trying to keep that clean face. I am all there for it. I'm trying to do that too, just because I feel like I'm actually wearing more makeup these days than not because of a lot of things that are going on. And I want to look nice when I'm recording and things. But at the same time, if you don't want to wear the makeup, then just make yourself feel your best with an outfit, perfume, whatever it may be. Move your body daily, exercise, and lots of steps. I know that there's a lot of controversy around how many steps you should take during a day, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that, scientific this, scientific that, testing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you get it. I would say exercise at least 45 minutes to an hour daily. Now, that's even on like a rest day, unless you need a total full blown bed rot rest day. I would get out and get some light movement in, walk, stretch, but exercising daily will change your entire life when it comes to discipline and consistency, and then getting in your steps. If you can get in 6,000 steps, phenomenal. If you can get in 10,000 steps, nailed it. If you can get in more than that, you're being an overachiever and showing off, but we love that too. But just getting in your steps and your movement, noticing how your day to day is, whether are you sitting a lot? Are you not really able to get out and move and groove? Are you not allowing yourself to do that? But being able to just get some sort of stepping in, and it's really good too for your lymphatic drainage, obviously your mental health, just to get outside and have fresh air. Because a lot of times we're working inside, we're not always getting the fresh air. You know how it goes. Make sleep a top priority. Go to bed and wake up at the same time daily. Okay, so this is for a highly, highly disciplined and consistent person. I will say that I love to do it. I don't wake up at 6 a.m. every day. I don't wake up at 5:30 a.m. every day, but I'm going to say that I do wake up at that time. 5 to 6 days out of the week, I'm waking up at that time. And, once your body gets used to it, it's really not as difficult. And to be honest with you, I think 6 o'clock is such a happy medium early wake up. When you're doing the fours and fives, that is a lot more of a mental game. You're up a lot earlier than most people. It's a lot quieter. You do realize then you're going to potentially have a longer day. So you might crash early or you might require a nap. But 6 o'clock is a really good sweet spot, depending on what you do, obviously. But getting up and just letting yourself wake up and have that moment. Now, that being said, not everybody functions in the morning like a morning person, which I am. So if you are functioning better in the afternoon, in the evening, schedule yourself to where you are going to succeed the most and be the most productive. And that's one thing I think in our world and that we are starting to become more understanding with and more progressive with is that not everybody is the waking up with the birds type vibe. And that's okay. It's not a big deal. It's just that if you aren't that, making sure that when you do wake up, you are still having time to be productive. It's not laziness. So make your sleep your top priority. Go to bed and wake up at the same time daily. I like to go to bed no later than 10 p.m. That 9 o'clock is a really good sweet spot. 8 p.m. if I'm exhausted and I know I need that extra hour of sleep, or if I'm waking up earlier than I normally do. but try to just have a routine that's not all over the board when it comes to your sleep. To your best ability, eat your body weight in protein daily and 3 liters of water. Okay. When I say eat your body weight in protein, that can sound very, very, very intimidating. But if you look at it, depending on your goals, I would say you're going to want to eat at least half your body weight in protein to all of your body weight in protein under the circumstances of what your goals are and how much you're actually moving and grooving. If you are truly focused on strength training and wanting to bulk up, as in build bigger muscles, build more of a strength training, weightlifting body, then you're going to want to have your weight in protein and carbs because that's going to help with your muscles. Obviously, that muscle mass and that muscle growth, muscle mass, depending on how much you're lifting. But then with the carbs, that's kind of putting on more of that stronger, I don't want to say bulkier look, but it's true. Protein doesn't make you big. Weightlifting doesn't make you big. It's the eating and the combination of it that will bulk you up. So that is how you have to understand both sides to the story. If you are eating a half your weight of protein a day, getting in that 50 to 60 grams of protein a day, a little bit more on higher movement days, you should be at a good pace. 80 grams tops if you are looking at something where you're just wanting to get a lot of protein in, but then you're also concerned about the bulk. Now, say for my instance, if I'm getting 50 to 60 grams of protein in a day and I am doing strength training and endurance running, obviously for me, I'm going to get toned and lean muscle because I am typically not lifting heavier than 20, 30 pounds. I am not targeting specific areas that I want to bulk. Most of the time what happens is if you're wanting to bulk, you're like, for women, they want to bulk their thighs, their legs, their hamstrings, their quads, their glutes. They'll do some back. They love the back, the biceps, things like that. But I tend to lift lighter in the upper body and then around 20 to 30 in the lower body. And for me, that is perfect amount to keep my physique for what I do and what I as an endurance athlete. So just making sure that when you're eating, you're understanding that you're fueling your body to what your movement is as well. You don't just like wake up, eat protein and go lift heavy weights, and then you're not going to get bulky. You're not lifting heavy weights and getting bulky. Oh, and then the 3 liters of water. I am so bad with liters, but I always just say 64 ounces of water at least a day, not including your hydration, like your electrolytes. But I would say if you are in a location where there's high humidity and heat, you right there are dehydrating and you don't even know it. We dehydrate or lose water by using the restroom, by talking, our spit. It's crazy. You can't just think of it like, oh, I'm dehydrated because I didn't have a sip of water and I went for a workout and that's why. No, you're dehydrated literally just sitting. So make sure you're looking at when you're fueling yourself that also you're not fueling yourself that day just for that workout. You're preparing that fuel the day before. And then after that workout, you're replenishing yourself from that workout and then you're continuing to fuel your body for the next time. So it's just that, again, that discipline and that consistency. So I would say, depending on the type of activity, 60 to 80 ounces of water a day. That 80 ounce is like peak endurance. You ran for an hour to 60 to 90 minutes. You're going to need to replenish your body. Now that also can take in with like some of the electrolytes and stuff, but don't skimp on your electrolytes and don't skimp on your water. You'll be tired. You'll not get motivated. You're going to see lack of progress in your training. It doesn't make sense. Do your skincare morning and night. No excuses. Come on now. I'm a skincare guru. I love it. I can't live without it. I must have skincare. Yeah. Do your skincare morning and night. You don't have to go full blown skincare in the morning if you're about to go and work out. But I would say, after whenever you're done and you're starting your day, I would say do your skincare because Obviously, we want to stay young and beautiful forever, but there's something about feeling refreshed on your face and cleansed, and your pores are, you know, declogged and all the goodness, and you're glowing. There's nothing better. Taking that time. And I also, for me, that's so therapeutic. I mean, I could spend hours in my bathroom doing skincare. Truly. Like there have been times where I just look at myself like I could have built a bridge. I could have built the Miami bridge that's crumbling with the not deficit, but the what's the word? The bad cement. What is it called when something's defected cement? I could have built that bridge quicker than my skincare routine. Say no to things that disrupt your routine and won't add value to your life. Whew. Okay. Yes. And saying no is not this bad curse word. Saying no is just setting boundaries, but also putting yourself first. Let me tell you something. I have never had FOMO. I don't know if it's because I was always the person, like when I was younger, like I was always the person in the fun stuff. So I obviously didn't have FOMO because I was the one orchestrating it. And then in college, I never felt like I had FOMO because it was just kind of like, oh, well, I did that a little bit in high school, but like I went to the University of Alabama. So there's always stuff going on. So I don't feel like, okay, if I miss this one thing, I have FOMO. And then as I got older, it was kind of like, I actually don't even care if I know about it or I get invited because 9 times out of 10, I'm going to stay at home and do something. I'm a homebody. I love being at home. Don't get me wrong. I love a good girls' night. I love getting out and about and beat bopping and whatever and trying places and exploring and traveling. But let me tell you something. If I can be at home doing some sort of home chore, home activity, sometimes just having a legit bed rot day. I love a good bed rot day. Sign me up. That's just how I am. And I think it's just because of the type of industry that I'm in and all the different aspects that I'm being, pulled from, that overstimulation and restlessness. It can become to the point where sitting in your bed and just listening to meditative music is my favorite thing. But saying no, it's not rude, it's not disrespectful. And what's going to happen is you're going to create that consistency and that discipline with that boundary. And it's going to become easier. But then also, too, the people around you will start noticing. They're going to realize you are not as accessible. And they're going to realize that you're not going to just say yes to things for other people's benefit. And that doesn't have to do with your friends asking you to go out and have a girls' night. It could literally be work related. If someone's coming up to you asking you if they can have a contact for somebody that you know or help them to get to do this, to do that, and you're thinking to yourself, well, that's probably not the best thing to do, or that just doesn't seem right for me. That's not fitting and aligning with myself. And saying no is okay. So remember, it's not just personal social events. I think a lot of people are like, I'm going to say no to dating. When someone asks me, I'm going to tell them no. And it's like, that's not it. Like saying no to somebody because you don't want to go on a date with them is just because you most likely feel like you don't have any connection with them and you just are making an excuse not to go. Cool. You know what I mean? But this is more on a higher level of not letting people walk all over you. And then you'll notice that you'll add value to your life because you'll start seeking out the people that value you and support you. And those people will start seeking you out because you see eye to eye. So this is really funny because it sounds so high maintenance and I'm really not high. What is it? I don't know what the word is called because I'm not going to say I'm low maintenance, but I'm not high maintenance. I'm like, what? I guess middle ground high maintenance. Keep your nails, brows, lashes on a maintenance schedule. So I have always had my nails done since college. I could not go without having a manicure. For me, that is something where it's making me feel like I am put together. I feel confident. I like it. I understand that not everybody wants to financially budget for them to get manicures and pedicures monthly. Understood. Or lashes. Now, that stuff, I did brows and lashes just because that is also within the same kind of category as nails and pedicure. I don't get my eyelashes done or my brows done or anything like that, but some other gals do, and they prioritize that. So what I'm saying is if it's something that makes you feel confident and makes you feel more put together and you will feel like you can go and achieve and be your best self, then do it. Budget it, figure it out, even if that means you have to do it at home. I will say, just for the sake of it, because sometimes I do like to try things on my own, I did buy a brow lamination kit and I did it. And I actually didn't mind it at all. I know I didn't leave it on long enough because I was not in a time frame where I could, but if I would have left it on long enough, I think it would have been great. Now, all I'm saying is it's about that kind of that hygiene of keeping yourself feeling good. I love it. And then we can always go into cosmetics because you know me. If you know me, if you follow me on Instagram, Fit with Jess Rose MCD, if you follow me, you know that I love going to Elite Med Spa to see my girl Jenny. And she's done my lips. She's done 7 different types of injections in my head, which is like a types of Botox and things like that. Like right now I have Daxify in my brain because I metabolize it so quickly from running and stuff, but I love it. I love upkeeping and I love things that make you feel natural and beautiful and just accentuate your natural beauty. And if anyone wants to judge you on that, they're either one, insecure and jealous, or they're actually thinking about wanting to do it, but they're too afraid to because they've been talking so much shit about it. So, or they actually have it and they're just lying, which you could probably tell. Okay. Keep the promises that you make to yourself daily. Yes. I know that daily promises can be a little bit of a peer pressure just because it is a lot to hold up to. But I like to try to promise myself during the day, okay, if I'm writing down these things that I need to get done, by the time I am getting into bed at night, I want at least 70% of those things done, if not 80, depending on the load of what it is and how long it would take. And am I beat bopping around the town? Is it stuff where I'm filming? Is it stuff admin on here? Is it all stuff that I will do at my place? Like, depending on where I'm going and what I'm doing, 70 to 80% of that list should be done by the end of the day. To me, that is keeping your promise for the day. If you have a list where it's practical that you can get it done in all in one day, great, do it. But just setting that promise just makes you feel like, okay, I'm getting rid of my craziness in my brain. I'm getting rid of the whole, I don't want to call it ADD, ADHD, because I do have ADHD, but I feel now that those 2 words are used too casually. So I'd rather use the idea of we're just being pulled in different directions and our attention spans are just not as focused because we feel like we have to get 17 tasks done all at one time as if we are robots or octopuses with 12 different hands. And so what you'll notice is you start a task and then your brain starts going and you're thinking about other tasks. So then you pause that task to go to another task and start doing it. And then you realize when you're done that you have started 7 different tasks. You've maybe finished 1 or 2 of them, and then all the other ones are just still open and lingering. And you're like, what am I doing? You feel more restless and overloaded and overwhelmed than when you started. When you do a list, have your daily list of things that you need to get done, your promises. And then if you have a planner, an agenda, which I do, and that just kind of maps out the week, it's just basically showing me meetings that I have or things that I do need to get done on this day. Like, okay, today I have this meeting, I want to go for a run. I need to go grocery shopping. This day I need to do content filming. This day I need to send stuff over to this. You know what I mean? Like it's more of like just a layout of the week, but then I always have a daily checklist because I just find that that's just how I work best. So however you do, whether it's physical, digital, having that checklist will be so helpful for you in keeping those promises and not starting a task and then jumping to others unless there's a reason why you have to do that. Okay, for instance, me filming this podcast, I know that it's going to take me this amount of time to do it. So should I do it this time, knowing then all these other things that I have to do I can get done versus if I got all that stuff done first and then left the podcast till later, will I do it and will it be as good as I want it to be? So that's how you have to do it. And it doesn't take a long time. You just got to take the time to do it. That's it. And pick a day. It doesn't have to be on a Sunday. It doesn't have to be on a Monday. Whenever your week starts and ends, that's when you should do it, period. We're almost done. Journal every single day. No excuses. Get honest. I understand not everybody's a journal. Not everyone likes to write their feelings down. You don't have to have a physical hand and paper. You can do it digitally. I know a lot of the times right now we're talking to, AI, which is really great. I've utilized it for things. You have actual therapists, you talk to your friends, whatever it is that is allowing you to take all the things that are in your head out, do it. And I'm not talking about the things in your head at the front. I'm talking the things of the head that are inside the head, that are staying there, that are gnawing at your brain and that you are avoiding. And you know that if you are to release it, that there are going to be some emotions that come with that. And so that is why you're avoiding it or you're blocking it. And I promise you, once you start pen to paper, fingers to, keyboard, whatever it may be, call to your bestie, talk to yourself in the car. I talk to myself in the car all the time while listening to music. Whatever it is, go for a walk. You will notice that there's that different type of release in your body that is so euphoric and clear, and you can actually just be so in tune with your body and your intuition. And that's the whole point. It's not just writing out, I'm so stressed, life is this, or I couldn't do this today, and something with family, whatever. It's taking out what's really in the core of the brain and letting it just purge, and you'll notice how you just completely switch. And then you're back to yourself. You're back to being disciplined and consistent. You have that motivation. Now you're clear and focused as far as manifesting and telling yourself that you can do it, and telling yourself that you're strong, you're capable, you're healthy, you're worthy, because the mind listens. The mind, if you tell your mind that you can't do it, if you wake up every day and tell yourself, I can't do it, well, guess what? It's not going to happen. It's just not. Last one here. Only consume content that is positive and beneficial. Yes, I will be the first one to say that I have fallen down comparison traps on social media several times in my lifetime. And I do find that I sometimes do now, but I have gotten better and better. And I think that comes with just social media maturity, but also boundaries. And then when you start to focus on your life and the good things that are going on in your life, then you're not really so focused on when you see something, how that will affect you. So it is kind of a domino effect of things that you need to work on in order to not feel that way. Because truly, when you look at something and it's bothering you, it's because it's something that's happening in your life that you don't feel like you're in control of. And that's where it starts first. But you can control your algorithm. You can say, I'm not interested. Excuse me. You can say, I'm not interested in a post. That's not hurting the person. If you're just saying, I'm just not interested, you're not reporting them. You're not saying it's not good content. You're not saying that it's inappropriate or whatever. You're saying, this is just not the type of content I'm interested in. Algorithm goes, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Your algorithm is going to also be what you search, not just on the social media apps, because you know that they're always listening and watching. It's going to be what you search on your desktop, your laptop, your phone, wherever it is that you're moving and grooving and doing things. It's going to collect that data as well and put it into your algorithm. Hence why you literally look up China from your grandma's closet, and the next day you're on your app and it's something to do with like a QVC commercial. You know what I mean? But what I'm just saying is why did I just come up with that? Where did that come from? I could have said anything. All I'm saying is that your algorithm is learning you. And so control it. Control it. I think it's funny when we always blame the internet. No, you do realize the internet is coded. It is coded. You can code it. You can change it as long as you allow yourself to do that and how you do it properly. But I don't know, maybe that's the coding side of me coming out from, when I went to school and all. But you can code. You can code it out. You can do it. And you will notice that then your algorithm will change, your explore page will change, your For You page will change. And then you're starting to consume content that makes you feel happy and that relates to you. And then you'll start finding people that are similar to you and like-minded to you. And then that's where you can maybe find friendships from them and connections and network. That is my favorite thing. I don't go on Instagram and look at it like, oh, this is a place everybody pretends to be the person they're not and whatever's behind the scene, and we only share our highlights. I go onto Instagram because, one, I want to provide quality content to my people. So when they see my page, they don't ever feel that way. But that when they see my page, they think, okay, I want to step it up because I see what she's doing and what she's offering in the education and the running, the motivation, and blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Whereas if you're going on and you're seeing things that don't relate to your life, then it's gonna, yeah. So you can control it. You got it. I promise. I would say close out, or the moral of the takeaway from this segment would be to either screenshot or save the story when I share this, or when the episode comes out, to screenshot and or share the story when I post it. So that way you have the actual note and you can see all the ones that we just talked about and listed. Or if you did just write them down, that's amazing. And then instead of feeling like you have to do all of them right away at a 90-day plan, maybe pick a few. But I do think that all of these are very, very, very practical, and they're not something that you wouldn't already include into your day to day already. Maybe it's just having to tweak a few things, or there's a few things that you've never done before, or there's something that maybe you want to eliminate that you've been doing that's not been helpful and switch it out with one of these other ones. But I promise you, I think a 90-day plan, even if you wanted to go down to a 30-day plan with this, 90 days, I get that's a commitment, 100%. But if you look at the list and really think about it, it's not as excessive as you think it is. So that's all up to you. One thing about me, I know my gear just like I know my fuel, just like I know my sneakers, just like I know my activewear, just like I know my shit. We're going to break down a few of the most common ones and talk about them. Of course, the first thing on my list, because I am a sneakerhead and I cannot live without my carbon plate racing shoes. The carbon plated shoe has really evolved and it has changed over the years. Naturally, we expect that, as the world progresses, materials and technology and accessibility and education is going to enhance those shoes. But sometimes carbon plated shoes, or carbon, even like a half carbon plated shoe, is not going to always be what you are expecting it to be or what it's actually telling you. So inside these shoes, there's a stiff carbon plate. I should just get one of my shoes built for basically it's a stiff carbon plate built into the midsole foam. So that's the midsole of underneath the foot. And what that plate does is it helps create a more efficient push off for your foot when it leaves the ground. So that's why when you ever see, a social media or on social media, someone's bending the shoe and then lets it go and it flies forward, that's the purpose of it, because it wants you to propel forward. When you combined that with newer, higher energy foams, the shoe actually has a better return. Like, it gives energy back to the runner with each stride. So with the foams, because now we have the plate and these really advanced cushioned foam sneakers, when you are not only being propelled forward with with the plate, you now have a cushioning to not only bounce off of, but then also have good shock support during each stride. So it's not tearing apart your knees, your joints, but it's also giving you that lightweight flying type feel. That's if you know how to use them properly and you have the proper stride and form down. When you are in with a carbon plated shoe, it is designed a heck of a lot different than your average training running shoe. And so when you're utilizing the carbon plated shoe, you have to basically know how to work it. If you're using full carbon plated shoes, like the shoes that are designed for you to specifically use on race day, I would not run with them all the time, because then what's going to happen is you're going to get used to those and your actual pace and your speed is not going to improve. It's just going to stay the same because you're training on your carbon plated shoes that are supposed to help you go faster than what you normally would. So that's why you want to train with a shoe that's just below it, that even can have a little bit of a carbon plate, and that is a high level training shoe, but it is not something that it is going to, how do I explain it? It's going to make you still work and train and pick up your pace. And it's going to make you still put in the work with the endurance. And it's all about just knowing when and not to use them. There are times where if I'm working on the track for a speed day, that I will go in with my Saucony Endorphin Pro. Yeah, my Endorphin Pro 5. I'll go in, and that's what I love to do for speed day. That's what I'll usually use for like a regular, 5-6 mile run day. And then if I am needing to switch it up just to kind of work on some speed work with the carbon plate, then I'll put them on, but I'm not utilizing them the whole time. Second topic is recovery compression boots. I am a stan for my high price compression boots. I use them almost daily, if not every other day. I highly suggest that if you can invest in a pair, do so. It doesn't have to be the highest price. There are tons of options out there, but as long as it's doing the trick and it's not a cheap product where it's hurting you and not benefiting you right, do it. I can't tell you how much it helps with just decompressing the load in your legs, which helps with decompressing in your hips, making that blood flow kind of happen, repairing any type of muscle or aches and pains, and just really releasing all that tension, that lactic acid buildup. It's amazing. And you can do it before a race. That's totally fine too. But I always love to use it post running, or in general, I'll use it throughout the week, even if I didn't run, because of strength training, everything. You want to make sure you have that good blood flow in the legs. If you did it before a race, that's nice to have because it can improve circulation and swelling. And naturally, when you're running longer distances, say 13, a half marathon to a full marathon, naturally, because you're just using your legs for such a long period of time, your feet would swell, which is also another reason why you want to ensure that the running shoe or running sneakers that you're wearing are appropriate to allow your feet to swell. And then the socks that you're using, which we're about to get into, are appropriate for, sweat wickening and not going to weigh you down, and that are also going to give you some of that compression while you're running, but that the compression boots are helping with that circulation and swelling pre-run, but obviously post-run too. A proper training load recovery would always have sleep, hydration, nutrition, and obviously a proper training load. But your gear, your recovery gear, your tech recovery gear is an addition to your recovery. Compression boots aren't going to eliminate you having to open up your hips and stretch your hips and open up your body and your spine and your glutes, your hamstrings, blah, blah, blah. It's helping you facilitate an area with swelling and blood flow, so then you can stretch a little bit deeper. Your body has that better circulation for better recovery and then better performance. But you're not just using compression boots thinking that that's going to help everything. Or I have, an infrared sauna blanket. I know that using that is great, but that's not going to be what's going to keep my muscles and joints and tendons strong for performing. And it's not going to keep me full with fuel, and it's not going to keep me hydrated. You know what I mean? So it's just adding in these additionals, even like the high tech, with smartwatches or smart technology with a Whoop and Aura Ring and things like that. Those are really fundamental assets to have as far as knowing statistics for your body. 100%. Other than that, you still have to put the work in with the recovery. And recovery is one things that people always skip because it's not as exciting and it's not time consuming. It's just not as exciting. But it's my favorite thing in the entire world. And then this is where we're going into performance running socks. First, I do have to give a shout out, but they are going to be in products I'm digging this week, and that is Courier socks. They sent me a plethora of their socks and I'm obsessed. I've actually ran in their socks for 2 races and couldn't be more impressed. I can't believe the socks I was using before, even though they were performance socks, what the difference is of just like how heavy my feet feel from sweat, the compression in the socks making me feel like my feet are not swelling as badly. I'm able to feel like I'm nicely fit in my shoe. It's lightweight. I don't even really notice they're there. They have that nice little half crew. So you're above the ankle and you're not worried about any kind of like crap getting in your heel, or not your heel, your crap getting in your shoes or by the ankle area. They're just really well made and I'm very impressed. So yeah, you gotta have some good socks because there's nothing worse than having a solid pair of running shoes or running sneakers, whether they're for training or for race day, and then wearing a pair of socks that are cotton, that are thick, or that aren't performance socks. You're just basically, it's just like putting, what is it, like oil into your gas tank. Why would you do that? So, cotton socks tend to hold moisture. That increases friction, and then that can also lead to blisters, but also just your foot kind of sliding and moving in the shoe. So the main misunderstanding is that a lot of runners underestimate how much friction happens when you're inside the shoe during longer runs. You have to look at it on a full scale of your feet are literally carrying you from point A to point B. So whatever is on them is going to be something that wants to benefit that. So why put a cotton sock on your shoe? That's another thing. Why wear a cotton sock when your running sneakers cost almost $300? That's what I'm always like. I'll see some of these people, and no offense, but they're wearing like an aloe running sock, or not, they're not even running socks, an aloe sock when they're like $250 running shoe. What are you doing? What are you doing? Don't do that. So a lot of runners underestimate the friction that happens. And cotton socks tend to hold moisture, they increase friction, and they can lead to blisters. Cotton socks are meant to be for lifestyle socks, okay? Or if you are going to a Pilates class, if you're going to a strength training class and you're using no shoes, if you are going for a walk, don't think of them as a performance sock. There are such things as performance socks, running socks specifically, and that's where you want to gear towards. And good performance socks also have a left and a right because they're made specifically for each foot. And that's very, very important. Running specific socks are designed with moisture wicking materials. They have very strategic cushioning that reduces friction and keeps feet drier. So they'll usually have like little air pods on certain sides or certain, portions of the sock where usually by the arch, there's going to be some good compression and good hold. And then certain areas by like maybe the heel or like the palm of the foot, there might be areas to allow for more breathing and to have good moisture wicking for the areas that you sweat. So that way, when you're sweating, it's either reducing the friction and not allowing your foot to just build up with sweat. You will notice a difference, I promise you. And coming from someone also that sweats like crazy, night and day. I promise. So yeah, it's all about that temperature regulation, the comfort for longer distances, that moisture wicking, and of course, that compression. All right, we're going to get through these last two quick. GPS running watches. I'm here for it. We love it. I think GPS running watches, it's nothing new. They've been out for a long time. And just like technology, they continue to improve. There are new data and statistics and products coming out by the plethora. We have the rings and the watches, and then the different types of watches as far as running goes, and then more of the performance as far as body and recovery goes. I'm not surprised that we're not wearing 6 different watches on each wrist for what each of them do. And that's what is right now for me. I'm trying to decide on what I want to purchase next that's not going to make me feel like I have to wear a Apple Watch and a Whoop, or a Garmin and a Whoop, or a watch and an Oura ring, or an Oura ring and a Whoop. Does that make sense? And also what works for my lifestyle. I'm leaning more towards the Whoop, but we'll see. I am done with the Apple Watch. Like I really am over it. It's just, I haven't pulled the trigger on a Garmin or a Whoop yet because I just want to test it all out. And I've not taken the time to go in and look at, these things and test them out. But I know if I get a Garmin, that's not really helping out with the Whoop side of things, where it's talking more about like your internal body analytics, how you're recovering, your stress management. But I'm also not sure if I want to know that, because I'm a very obsessive person with myself when it comes to being competitive and wanting to be the best, healthiest, strongest, competitive version of myself. And I find that if I get something like that, I'm going to be so tuned into it that I don't know if I'll enjoy it or not. So we'll see. But I am leaning more towards the Garmin now. It's just, I'm very particular. And then when I decide that it will happen, it will pop up in my head and I'll just make the move on it. This is very incredible. And it's very, very important that we have these GPSs, not only for safety and to be able to track our progress and track our work, but it's also really great to see, your pace, your distance, your heart rate, your elevation, your training loads. There's so much data that you can look at that will help you be able to then switch up what you're doing to benefit yourself. And this is something that I was talking about last episode about, are you overworking or are you overloaded? So these types of technology is what can help you realize if you're working, or if you are just overloaded and you need to switch up that training plan. Because there's nothing better than having to feel like you cannot figure out something that's going on that you've been doing or that you've done, and then it all of a sudden starts not working for you anymore, or you've hit that plateau. And that's where a good training coach or a good technology watch or monitor and good training plan and yourself being consistent and disciplined comes in, and you'll be fine. My only takeaway with the watches is that it should be your guide. It should be your training guide, and it should not control it. And it should not control you, which kind of is what I talked about with like me getting the whoop or not. You still need to listen to your body, and you still need to know that at the end of the day, you are the person, you are the one living. This is just a benefit that we get to have and that we're really lucky to have. But if your body is saying no to something that your watch is telling you, I mean, think about it for a second. Just saying. And last but not least, foam rollers and mobility tools. I am all here for mobility tools and foam rollers. I have a ribbed or rigid foam roller that I like to use. I just have to say, you have to be very, very careful because when your muscles are tender, or when you have a tick or a stitch or any type of soreness in your muscles, you need to understand how you're properly warming up that muscle before you're starting to treat it, or how, if it's actually the right spot that you're needing to treat, and the depth of how you want to treat the muscle as far as how deep you're going to be putting pressure onto it or in that specific area. Because what you can do is trigger it and it can get worse. And also, too, because if you're doing it to yourself, you tend to be more tense and stressed while you're doing it because you're feeling the pain, you want it to go away, it's annoying you. And then that tense right there of you just being that stressed is going to actually make it worse. And sometimes these tools don't help. I'm not the biggest fan of like a Theragun. I think they're good for certain situations and if they're done right, but I'm not a fan of someone using it to target like a trigger spot for a muscle. It is just going to make that muscle so inflamed and so irritated that that next day you wake up and you're going to be in agony. I promise you. Same thing with foam rollers. If you have a foam roller that has any type of ridges or spikes and ribs on and everything, it's great. But knowing that the foam roller is meant to move on the fascia, even using like a tool is really good. Focusing on not just pounding rough pressure. And I think that comes with just how we've learned over the years of what our body feels and how we can heal and recover better with different types of medicine and movement. I don't want to just say this for runners, but in general, but with runners, obviously we put a lot of repetitive stress on our hips and our knees, and then our joints and our ligaments, but our calves, our hamstrings, our quads, our glutes, and our core. I would suggest getting something where like if you have a heating pad, heating up the muscle, the sore area first, taking a hot shower. I love taking a hot shower before a run or a workout. Well, not really workout, but before a run. But I love taking a hot shower before any type of movement or stretching, or if I am going to be targeting a muscle area to release. So warming up that muscle first, having some sort of CBD muscle cream, magnesium cream. I use magnesium cream for muscles and it's amazing. Something that can also kind of go into the muscle and help release that tension in that fascia area. Or, I mean, cupping. I get cupping done all the time, but I also have a set of cupping cups that I use. I've cupped my face and stuff, but that I can try to put in areas if I need to. But just really warming up the body first before you go in and start to put pressure onto it. And your best bet is just to go in light, go in slow, feel out the area that you know where the pressure is. And once you've kind of nailed it, then just kind of hold down on it, see if you can move it around. Most of the time, it's about just releasing it and letting it kind of flow back to its place that it needs to be. It's not about having to like gnaw and knead. It's just about being very sensitive and like be calm and sensitive to the area. And then as you're doing that, kind of being able to kind of stretch a little bit slowly, that will see if you're releasing the tension anywhere or if you notice any other areas that are causing tension and maybe it's coming from a different spot than you thought it was, and just kind of going in nice and slow and then releasing, taking a moment, opening up, and then going back into it. That is where you're going to get the best release and the best results. Quote me. Y'all know me. We have gotten to the part of the segment where I'm going to pull up something I've saved that I want to talk about. So let's see. What do I want to talk about? I think this one's pretty funny, but I don't know if I'm going to do it. But scientists found that sniffing rosemary increases memory by 75%. Rosemary breaks down a chemical in the brain known as, buddy, really? Acetylcholine. Acetylcholine. I'm going to have to figure that one out. This allows nerve cells to communicate with one another more effectively. Cute, but no. Neuroscience says if you don't believe it's possible, your brain won't even let you see it. Obviously, we know that. That painful muscle burn during a workout is actually the ultimate fuel for your brain. For decades, science believed lactic acid was just a toxic waste product. We know lactate is a preferred high octane fuel for your neurons. The burn manufactures pure brain food. During intense effort, lactate crosses the blood brain barrier to feed starving brain cells. It promotes new neural networks and significantly improves your overall memory capacity. Physical exertion directly increases intelligence. Avoiding high intensity workouts deprives your mind of the powerful cognitive enhancer. Without the burn, your brain relies entirely on glucose, which is far less efficient. Push past the pain today. The mental clarity you feel after a grueling workout is not just endorphins. It is your brain operating on super fuel created by your own suffering. Embrace the muscle fire. Lactate injection in traumatic brain injury patients significantly accelerates their cognitive recovery. Wow. The brain actively demands this fuel to repair and rebuild its damaged tissue rapidly. Cool. Researchers suggest that high intensity interval training elevates brain lactate levels for hours. This creates an extended window of hyperfocus and enhanced learning capacity immediately following the workout. Perform one sprint session a week where your muscles genuinely burn. Use the 2 hours immediately after to tackle your most difficult brain heavy work tasks for the day. That's pretty cool. That's educational. I like it. I'm here for it. I will, of course, share this when the episode comes out. That way, y'all can read it and dive into it more. But yeah, I'm here for it. And I honestly, I don't want to say this in like a negative way, but I feel like that's something that we all already know. Having a intense workout session, whether it's endurance, strength, whatever it may be, mobility, agility, that it really just spikes those endorphins in your mind and in your brain, and you feel unstoppable. It's where you feel like you're the most in tune to yourself and your body and what you want, and just all the things. So yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorite things. That's what running does for me. It is my high and I love it. All right, well then I think we should do products I'm digging this week and then we'll be done. This has been an easy episode. I love it. All right, on the list is this ColourPop So Juicy lip, I don't know, gloss, whatever you want to call it, in color Dolled Up. I really like it a lot. It's just the perfect shade for me. It's very feminine, it's girly, but also too, I like how it goes on. Fuego. These are the Courier socks. The whites are actually dirty because I've just been wearing them in my races. As you can see, this is how they're designed. Performance Socks 101. It's got that nice crew. I like that it has a little bit of that back right here for when you're putting them on. And then another one. I believe they're not the same length. Yeah, this is more of like that half crew. This isn't a full crew, but it's a little bit higher. And then they have some that are not fully performance based. So they really focus on running and cycling, but obviously you can use them for all high performing activities, but they have a handful of options and I really like them a lot. And then Runway, I have been an ambassador for them and I love them a lot. Their salty carbs are insane. And melon is my favorite flavor. I'm absolutely obsessed and love this stuff. I have it every day, especially before I do any type of endurance workout. Actually, I'll even do it before strength training. I mean, you can do it for anything really, but it is for endurance. It has electrolytes and carbs in, which we need both. And then last but certainly not least are the Juna digestive enzymes. This is award winning right here. I'm pretty sure it is. Don't quote me. but the digestive enzymes, you take them, and let me just say something. Your digestive tract will be on point. And I'm very lucky because I will be doing some paid stuff with them coming up. So, actually, by the time this episode comes out, which is really nice. But yeah, the digestive enzymes, great. I've actually, if you follow me on Instagram at Fit with Jess Rose, M as in man, C, D as in David, you'll see that I always share my wind down beverage at night that I make. And their chlorophyll detox drops are my holy grail. I can't live without them. I'm actually looking at my water right now that has the detox drops in them. So yeah, that is just a light little products I'm digging this week. And we just finished episode. So yeah, I hope you learned something today. Let me know if there's anything that stood out to you that you liked, or if you have questions about anything. I still have my weekly warm up club, which is my running and endurance mentorship for all my ladies. I'm loving all the clients that I have and all my gals that are just really putting themselves first and moving and grooving and making some major changes to their endurance progress, which I love seeing. So if you're interested, reach out. And yeah, a lot of fun stuff coming up. Stay up to date with me because I'm going to be everywhere. This next month, you're going to see me in some really cool spots. So that's that.